trouble with the congressman, the governor, and my good friend, Ken Salazar. And I've come here to say one thing, and that is that I am a friend of Ken Salazar. He has just been such a mentor to me in the Senate. You know, for me, it was a little bit of an adjustment being in the United States Senate. I came out in my Saturn with my husband and my 13-year-old daughter. We found old college dishes in the basement to bring to Washington and a shower curtain from 1985. And we drove there, and I was at my first fancy lunch, and I'm sitting there in the Lyndon Baines Johnson room with this big ornate picture of LBJ looking down on me. And I went and I got a salad and a cup of soup, and I'm ready to dive in, and Senator Patty Murray grabs my arm. She says, "Amy, you just took the entire bowl of Thousand Island dressing and you're about to eat it." And I said, "That's what we do in Minnesota. We eat the Thousand Island dressing." But it was Ken Salazar who has been such a mentor to me there. Because when you're brand new, you need friends. And he is such a strong advocate for Colorado and for everything that you do. So it's just a privilege to be here. I do bring you greetings from our state, the state of Minnesota, where in the words of our poet laureate Garrison Keillor, the women are strong, right? The men are good looking, and all the huevos rancheros are only above average. Because these are very good. They're great. I've actually been campaigning all across the country for Senator Obama, and I got to know him actually when I took that drive with the salad and the college dishes. I was literally out of my driveway, and it was Senator Barack Obama who called me and said, "We have to get the freshmen together to get this ethics bill passed, because we're never going to get change in Washington unless we have an even playing field for the American people." And by the time we got to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, we had everyone on a conference call. And by the time I got to the giant mattress factory in Arlington, Virginia, we had the plan in place, and we passed that bill a few months later, and it wouldn't have happened without Barack's leadership. So I have, as a result of the work I've done with him, gone all over the country for him, from Montana to here to South Carolina. My favorite stop was actually there, where I was at a fish fry. And there's 2,000 people. I'm a little out of my element, and I don't know if you remember that story that Barack would always tell in the early days at rallies about how he was in South Carolina and he drove 2 hours in the rain to this little town because, as Ken mentioned, he's been so devoted to the rural parts of our country. He promised this woman he'd get there. He was in a bad mood. He'd get there. It's pouring rain. This woman has this big hat on. She says, "What's wrong with you? Aren't you fired up and ready to go?" And he says, "Well, I guess so." She says, "Come on, get fired up and ready to go." And so she starts this chant, "Fired up, ready to go," and pretty soon he's fired up, ready to go. And it became the mantra of the campaign. Well, 6 months later, I'm on that stage at Representative Clyburn's Fish Fry, and all of a sudden, this woman comes up at the end. She's got this T-shirt on. It says, "Fired up, ready to go." And I say, "I love that story about the woman from the little town who started the chant." And she says, "I am fired up and ready to go." I say, "No, I'm fired up." She says, "No, I'm fired up and ready to go." You know what? Finally she said, "I am the woman." She says, "I'm the woman that started that." And I thought to myself at that moment, this is what this campaign's about. You know, it's about this senior who's wearing this T-shirt that says "fired up and ready to go" 6 months later. It's about the farmers in our state, the ranchers in your state, that have seen firsthand who's on their side when it comes to the Farm Bill, when it comes to rural policy. It's about the veterans that come up to me at VA hospitals in our state and at veterans homes, and they come up, they say, "You know what, I've always voted Republican. But I remember after World War II what the rest of the world thought about our country, and we need to regain that respect again, and that's why I'm voting for Barack Obama." And it's about the young people all over this country that have been motivated and gotten involved like never before. My daughter was in camp for 2 weeks this summer, and she wrote me a letter. She says, "Mom, there's ants at the bottom of the cot, but I'm still going to sleep. I haven't had a tick yet. How is Barack doing?" And they're just motivated like they've never been before, and it's very exciting all across this country. Ken talked a little bit about the differences between these two candidates, and we all have our own reasons for getting involved and wanting to stay. But I think if anyone didn't know the differences before, they certainly saw them the last 3 weeks. You saw almost a dress rehearsal for these two candidates to be president. You have this major economic crisis that we're still in the middle of, and you saw Barack Obama steady and calm and collected. Throughout those debates, the American people were able to see how he and Joe Biden behaved under pressure. They saw Barack immediately come out with a plan and principles with his economic advisors around him, including Warren Buffett, to talk about what needs to be done in this country. You saw John McCain acting erratic, suspending his campaign, saying he's not going to do a debate that he is. They're announcing policies on the fly, and it really got to the hearts of the American people, because every time when we really talk about the economic issues in this country and how difficult it's going to be for people to afford food at the kitchen table and how difficult it's going to be for them to fill their car up with gas, Barack Obama wins, because he is the one that's been talking about the issues and a plan. You look at the energy issue, which is so important for Colorado, this idea that we could finally stop spending $600,000 a minute on foreign oil and stop spending all the money on the oil cartels in the Mideast and instead invest in the farmers and the workers of this country to build this new energy future, which is going to be a combination of oil drilling, a combination of solar and wind, and I bet there's a lot of wind in Colorado, a combination of clean coal and all of the other things that we can do to make this country work better. If Brazil can do it with sugar cane and oil, we should be able to do it in this country with the rich resources that we have in our country. And every step of the way, Barack Obama has led the way. Healthcare. Barack has a plan. It's going to make it more accessible and bring down our premiums. As county attorney, I knew that when people didn't have health care, I represented our biggest emergency room, they had a doctor. It was the emergency room, and it was incredibly expensive for taxpayers. And that's why Barack's plan is so good on health care. So when you look at these two candidates, they don't even compare. I always say McCain reminds me, it's like 4 more years of George Bush. It's like a rerun. It's like watching that cable station TV Land, where they keep showing Leave It to Beaver and Gilligan's Island over and over and over again. The only problem is if we elect John McCain, we'll never get off the island. It's going to be like Mrs. Howell and the whole thing all over and over again. And we need to get off the island and move forward in a new direction. My grandpa was an iron ore miner, and know that Pueblo has steel roofs. And he worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines in Ely, Minnesota. He never graduated from high school. He saved money in a coffee can to send my dad to college. And my dad got to be the first one in our family to go to college, and he became a columnist and a sports writer. And I grew up in a middle-class family. And now I am the granddaughter of an iron ore miner as a United States Senator. And that happened because people believe in this country, in the American dream. So when you hear this 24/7 shots fest on TV and all these horrible accusations going back and forth, McCain's just trying to throw every ridiculous thing at Barack Obama, the American people are too smart for that this time. They're too smart for that because they know what this election is really about. This election is about 10 people in my state in a little town called Starbuck, Minnesota, who quit their job to go work for a solar panel factory because they have faith in this new energy future. I remember because they had me jump up and down on the solar panels to show they could withstand hail damage. And then, unfortunately, Governor, they put it up on their website. But in any case, those people had the courage to believe in this new energy future, and we need a president that's going to match that courage, that believes just like they do. This election is about soldiers going back to Fort Carson, who've been serving our country bravely. And when they signed up for war, there wasn't a waiting line. And when they come back to this country and they need health care, they need mental health care, they need employment, they need education, there shouldn't be a waiting line in this country. And we need a president that respects them that way. This election